Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Arouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie Me, and these other books right here, where you can get my books, my merchandise, Patreon, cocktail or beer of the day, down in that description. So go down and have a little foreplay, okay? All right, and as always, thank you guys for all the support, the amazing community we have here, the comments, the stories, everything. It's so awesome to have all these amazing women and men here. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope this channel changes your whole idea of being stuck in Almost Famous. And speaking of Almost Famous, we're going to talk about a little band from the 80s that was really close to being a lot bigger than they were. We're going to talk about a band called LA Guns. That's right, folks. And today our little beer of the day is going to be our local Polygamy Porter by Wasatch. It's a really good one. They used to do a bourbon-soaked one once a year that they haven't done for a couple of years. It's real bummer because that was my favorite one. So everybody, grab your polygamies, kick up your feet, and let's have a little cocktail rocktail, shall we? Ooh. Wait for it. All right. Cheers, big ears. Oh, so good. For those of you that don't know, Wasatch and Squatters were the original brew pubs here in Salt Lake City. So if you ever come, we'll visit them. Really great stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about LA Guns. I'll put my passes. I think I only actually have one pass from these guys, but the other ones are from Def Leppard. But we'll get into that. Okay, so the first time I met LA Guns was, God, it was pretty early, about 80, probably around 87-ish, 88-ish. They were playing this club that was here in Sugar House called the Palladium. There was a lot of Palladiums around the United States, and we had our own Palladium here. And it was crazy because that's where I did my very first fashion show here in Salt Lake City with Grunts and Postures, this really awesome vintage store. And it was a new wave club but most of the time. So for them to have LA Guns there was pretty different. But they were a new band and we were excited to meet them and see them. And they had some cute members like Kelly Nichols. But Bochet got to Kelly first. But we'll talk more about that later. And a little cautionary tale of what not to do, because Bochet did the wrong thing later. So she had met Kelly. I knew Steve from Wasp, Steve Riley, the drummer and stuff. So we just all went up, hung out, had a really good time. Because LA Guns is one of the bands that I saw not only in Salt Lake City, but Seattle. Also, while I was in New Mexico for a while. We'll talk about that some other time too. But so this is how I met LA Guns, was playing the Palladium. So we all hung out after the show that night, partied. I wasn't like with anybody, but it was really great just to hang out with a cool new band whose music we loved. And I've talked about Tisha, the cautionary tale with Izzy Stradlin. Well, she would end up later years dating Phil Lewis. One of the reasons she moved out to LA was Phil Lewis. So that's the first time we met LA Guns. Second time, we had hung out with them a couple other times, but the second time we really hung out with them, they were opening up for Def Leppard. So I was with Savvy, and this was still on the Hysteria tour. I was with Savvy. Bochet was again with Kelly, but here's the mistake Bochet made. She also was seeing a roadie for Def Leppard. So Savvy, Richie Barron, Kristen, and I were all down with, and I think Rick, the drummer. But anyway, a bunch of us were down at LA Guns' hotel, which was the Holiday Inn. The Marriott is where Def Leppard was staying. So we were down there hanging out. And I saw Kelly. We said hello. I'm like, where's Bochet? He's like, oh, she said she had to go pick up a friend for at the airport, but we'll be back in a couple hours. That's where she made her mistake. Take a drink, everybody, for this one, because groupies, wannabe groupies, soon-to-be groupies, take this as a lesson. So Boucher not only lied to Kelly, but she did not factor in that we all left the Marriott, or the Holiday Inn, went to the Marriott. We're walking down towards Richie's room because we were all going to go smoke and do whatever before we went out to dinner or something. And as we were walking down the hallway towards Richie's room, another roadie's door opens up and out comes Boucher with the roadie. And there's Kelly, and she was like, oh, because this happens to us all, ladies. We, as groupies, will date a lot of different musicians, and sometimes they end up on the same tour together. So what it comes down to is you've got to make a choice. Either you're going to be with one guy or the other. You're not double dipping and playing both sides. Because, I mean, why did she leave Kelly? Because he's hot, and she was with this little bald English roadie. So Kelly was just like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. So kind of was like, yeah, don't bother coming back to my hotel tonight. And she never saw Kelly again. Last time I actually saw her, LA Guns was opening up for someone else, and she was trying to see Kelly again. And she had on a t-shirt, this Harley Davidson with a hog on it, because, you know, it's a hog. And she's like, oh, I'm wearing this Alf t-shirt because Kelly loves Alf. It wasn't Alf. It was a hog in a Harley jacket. So maybe Kelly didn't lose that much. But so anyway, so that was another time. But one of the most important times that I hung out with LA Guns was in Seattle, the first time with Danny. Danny, that was before Danny and I had a place to stay, and we were still taking the hotel keys from the bands that would stay at the Camblin that we knew. And the night guys would tell us which rooms were open, and we would go stay in those rooms, kind of just squat in them, basically. So we were hanging out, and we saw LA Guns was playing the Paramount, which was right across the street from the Camblin, so most of the bands stayed there. Went and hung out, and of course, we had a plan. We were going to get their hotel room keys. And we were hanging out, and Kelly's like, oh, yeah, I remember you girls, Salt Lake City. He's like, yeah, where I used to see Boucher. I'm like, yeah, I know, I was there that night when she double-crossed you, double-dipping you. And Kelly was just one of the nicest guys. You know, like, he's just one of the sweetest guys you'd ever meet. So why Boucher wanted to ditch him for some English roadie was beyond me. But yeah, that was the third or fourth time I had hung out with LA Guns. Was because we stole their hotel room keys and stayed in a couple of their rooms for a few more nights. But like I said, you guys watch the Seattle the first time video and you'll understand this. So then a couple months later, Danny and I had left Salt Lake City and gone down to Las Cruces, New Mexico, where I had family, and decided we were just going to go there. And we would go over to El Paso a lot for a lot of shows. And this LA Guns one was one of them. I can't remember who all was playing. We knew this girl, Tess. So we're all drinking, you know, it's a hot day. We're in shorts and t-shirts, just hanging out, enjoying the tour, having a good time, running into LA Guns again. And Tess is with us, and she just drank too much and the heat got too hot. So we were on the bus hanging out, smoking weed, having drinks, getting out of the sun, enjoying ourselves, when Tess passes out. Ladies, don't be the one that passes out on a tour bus, because that's just like passing out at a frat house. Something's going to happen to you if you pass out, okay? So always be sober enough to not pass out. So Tess passes out. And the guys are like playing with her like she's a puppet. They're like, oh, my name is Tess. And doing her little mouth like this and just propping her head. And they took a bunch of pictures, like put some underwear on her head. I mean, it wasn't like they were violating her or anything. They just put some underwear, which I hope was clean, on her head. It was kind of posing her in puppets and stuff like that. So that was kind of another time that I hung out with LA Guns. And of course, again, in Salt Lake City, they played the fairground, and that's when Tisha met Phil. So LA Guns has been around and I don't write about him in the book because I really wasn't sleeping with anybody, and they weren't that, like, they were a really fun band to hang out with, and I love that song. My last chapter in my book is named after one of LA Guns' songs, What Happened to Jane. But like I said, just a bunch of cool guys. I never liked Tracy so much. He was always kind of a tiny, angry little dick. That's the only way you can describe him. He was just fucking angry all the time. Because he was the one that didn't get many girls. He is a talented musician, but not talented enough. Just always was one step away from being Guns N' Roses or, Megadeth or someone like that. A bigger band in the 80s. But they were a great band and a lot of fun. I think Steve Riley was a blast. Totally awesome. Like I said, I knew him from his Wasp days before he got into LA Guns. And yeah, those are the times I hung out with LA Guns. I think the funnest time was definitely at El Paso, where Tess passed out, because we were just running around being crazy. And I know we took pictures. I just have to figure out where they are and who has them. And I think, I kind of was one of my favorite times was when Kelly busted Bochet. Because like I said, ladies, we have bands that cross paths all the time. All the time. So, and yeah, Tracy was kind of the angry guy, but Phil was kind of more, I'm the English rock star, I'm the hardest one, type of thing. And he got, Kelly to me was the best looking, and like inside and outside and out of LA Guns, because he was just that kickback, cool, knows he's good looking, but doesn't really care, has more interest. Which kind of always surprised me that he was with Bochet, because Kelly always liked a little more intellect, a little more drive, a little more something. And as wonderful and sweet and beautiful as Bochet was, she was just one step left of what Kelly needed as far as intelligence goes. So there you guys go. There's a few times of me hanging out with LA Guns, just sort of crazy, silly, stupid stuff. But I also wanted to talk to you guys today about, I've been saying what I'm going to be doing with Patreon. I'm not on Twitter. But for Patreon and stuff, so Patreon members, what I'm going to do, I want you guys to put suggestions of what you want to see on the channel. Different topics and stuff. And for every time I use one of your topics, I'm going to send you out shot glasses or some piece of merch, something. So that's what I'm doing, and it's going to be the same for members here. And I'm going to be putting a lot of videos for members only that pertain to stories in the book, because I'm losing money off the book and giving away my stories for free. So also, in a few months, the ebook is gone. I'm just going to be selling paperback and hardbacks for a while, because too many people, they download the book for free, they don't actually read it, and they go to leave a review because they just want to be mean. So I need to figure out what I'm actually doing with the ebook and just take it off for a while and see how sales like that go. So that's kind of where I'm going to be going with the channel. So like I said, a lot of past videos may be turned into members only if they pertain to the book. But the average ones won't be, so I don't know. You'll see changes in a few months, but I'll let you guys know what's happening for real. So, just, and I want to be able to thank everybody at Patreon and members and everybody who's really, really supported this channel, and me personally and privately and everything. I want to be able to thank you guys. So, going to be doing a lot of giveaways with t-shirts, all of my merchandise. I'm going to be doing shot glasses, so a Patreon, if I do use your topic, then I'm going to send you out the shot glass of the day. So I'm in the process of ordering everything and getting everything delivered so that we can have some cool stuff to give away to you guys, because I just really want to thank you for all the love and support and all the people here that have just really helped make this channel. So just my way of saying thanks, and I hope you guys are cool with that. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed today's silly little kind of babble topic. Like I said, somebody wanted to hear about LA guns, so I give you your topics all the time because you guys really, with your subject, help my channel grow, help me keep stuff coming. So big, huge love and thank you for that. And you guys that are just haunting my channel or new here, hit that subscribe, hit the share button, hit my bells. Because if you're not subscribed, if you're not a member, if you're not a Patreon, I'm not going to be doing the giveaways for everybody. So just for those who really truly support the channel. All right, guys. Again, hope you enjoyed my babble about LA guns today. We'll see you next time here on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.